Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I'm really grateful that you guys are listening and subscribing and commenting on my channel. I have a cold, as you guys can tell. Hopefully it's not too irritating to hear this voice. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about how INFJs have this innate sense of feeling unworthy, the sense of being unworthy of love, unworthy of self-care, unworthy of luxury, unworthy of anything good in the world. And this innate sense, it's ingrained so deep into us that sometimes we don't even realize that we are that way, right? I actually want to just share an example from my own life and kind of talk a little bit about that to illustrate this sense of unworthiness. Now, if you guys know me and you've watched my channel for a while, or if you've watched a couple of videos, you know that I do love myself a lot. I spend a lot of my time taking care of myself, trying to take care of myself, making sure that I love my essential self as much as possible, my true self. No matter if it seems very slimy or gross or negative, or no matter if I have my shadows or if I don't like parts of myself, I really try as much as possible to love myself, you know, as much as it's possible for me as an INFJ and as a Virgo and as a female in this world. I do the best I can, right? Recently, I think I've told you a couple of times that the air pollution in Chiang Mai is really terrible right now. This is actually called the smoky season or the burning season because the farmers burn off the crops, and that causes a lot of air pollution, a lot of small particle pollution, which is really hard on the body, on the system. A lot of people are walking around with masks on, but really it's not enough, right? And so I have a mask as well. I've shown you pictures of it. I walk around with that mask everywhere, the camel one. And whenever I'm indoors, I try to have the door closed, and I have plants indoors, and I make sure that the air quality indoors is as clean as possible. But of course, despite all of that effort, the best thing for me to have done was to get an air purifier. Now, if you guys are, and I'm going to do a video on this as well about INFJs and money, but if you guys are at all familiar with INFJs, we have a really hard time spending money on ourselves. And this all comes back all the way back to the fact that we have the sense of feeling of the sense of unworthiness. We feel like we're undeserving of good things, or of the fact that we need to take care of ourselves, or even having a sip of water is like, oh wow, I'm really doing so much for myself. And so because of that, we have the sense of not wanting to spend money on ourselves. Now, if it comes down to anyone else, if it was anyone else on the planet, if I was looking at any other person on this planet, no matter who they are, no matter if they've killed 1,000 people, if it came down to me deciding to spend money on an air purifier for myself, or spending money on someone else, whoever it might be, I would always choose to spend money on someone else. It's an innate thing in me. It's one of those things. And again, I said I'm gonna expand on that further in a money video, INFJs and money video, so stay tuned for that. But in this video, I just really wanted to clarify that I have a really hard time spending money on myself, especially if it's something where it's to take care of myself. Now, of course, if I need toilet paper, obviously I'll buy toilet paper. If I need to buy food, I will buy food because of course it's necessary. I need to survive, I need to live. But and something like an air purifier, it's kind of like a luxury if you think about it. Not really in this situation because it's actually essential, because the air pollution is so bad, and I really don't want to reduce my lifespan just because of air quality. It doesn't make any sense when I can actually do something about it. So I went through, as you guys can tell, I went through a lot of debate in my head over the fact if I should buy the air purifier or not. Should I buy it? Is it worth it? Blah, blah. The reality of the situation is it was only $200 Canadian, less than that actually. So that's not a lot of money if you really think about it, to have good air quality in your home and not have to wake up every morning with a sore throat, or to wake up every morning feeling congested because you've been breathing bad air all night long, and all not being able to do my workouts at home, not being able to do my Wim Hof breathing or to do my yoga at home because the air quality is so bad. I'm afraid of breathing too much or too fast. Not that it really matters. But all of those things, to take into account all of that stuff, I decided I'm going to buy it, right? Now, of course, as I said, I went through a lot of debate over it. The main essence of this debate was, is it worth, am I worth it? actually is the main debate over it. Every single time an INFJ is doing anything, they're always kind of going through this situation in their head, this question in their head. They're always asking themselves, am I worth it? Am I worth this effort? Am I worth this money? Am I worth this time? Am I worth this person? Am I worthy of this situation? Am I worthy? Am I worthy? And am I worth it? Kind of thing, right? The L'Oreal slogan comes, you're worth it. I really feel like L'Oreal's slogan should be kind of stamped onto our forehead, because we really need to be reminded of that fact over and over again. Yes, you are worth it. Yes, you are worth it. Yes, you are worth it. Over and over and over again, we have to tell ourselves this statement. Yes, you're worth it. Yes, you're worth it. But even though we could hear it 1,000, million, billion times, it's still really hard for us to believe that statement. Now, of course, I'm not saying that I completely believe the statement, but I have little by little, as I get older, realized that yes, I am worth it and I'm worthy of all of these things, and especially essential things like this. I am allowed to splurge on this air purifier and get it for myself and be able to take care of my lungs and my body that way, right? And so, of course, as I told you, I did buy the air purifier. It's sitting in the back here. You guys can't see it, and it's cleaning up the air in the space. So if you know anything about air quality, the air quality outside is terrible right now. I mean, really bad. So the air quality index, AQI, is 406 outside, which is really, really bad, guys. It's actually hazardous to your health. And inside, because of this air purifier, it's around 56, 57, which is still not the air quality you had in Canada. I think in Canada right now it's like 10 or 20, which is really, really clean, obviously. But still, comparatively, compared to outside to the inside, this is actually really, really good. I don't feel congested. I don't feel like I'm not afraid to breathe, which is a really terrible thing to say. And I really do feel bad for all those people outside, all those Thai people who can't actually afford to get an air purifier. Perhaps they're used to this air quality, I don't know. They deal with it every year. But I do feel bad for all those people who are dealing with bad air quality, not only in Chiang Mai, but in China and all those other places that it's really, really bad for you. You can't even breathe outside without killing yourself slowly. Now, this is actually one of the thoughts that came into my head. Why do I deserve to have an air purifier in my home when there are people out there who don't have one? Why am I deserving of one? Why do I deserve one more so than those people outside? And this kind of thought process happens a lot in my head, and happened a lot in my head when I was younger, especially when I was in my early 8 years, maybe when I was 10, 12, 13, though that kind of year when I was just becoming a teenager or just getting into that phase of thinking about the world and realizing there are poor people in the world and people who are dealing with really, really a lot of suffering and a lot of trauma. I would always have the sense of feeling unworthy, because I would think to myself, I must have done something really, really great in my previous life because I have an amazing life right now. Why do I deserve this life? What have I done to have such an awesome life where everyone loves me and takes care of me? I have enough food and clean drinking water and clean air, and I can do whatever I want with my life. I'm free to choose. I'm not subjugated to anyone. I don't have to deal with anyone. I am lucky to live this life. But I would always think to myself, from the time when I was 10 or 12, from when I was really, really young, I think even younger than that, 8 or 9, I started thinking about this idea that why do I deserve this life? Why me versus all those other people out there who are perhaps more worthy, perhaps maybe I have no idea about them, but why not them? Why me, right? And I'd look at all these people, I'd see these women who are working really hard. I'd go to India and I'd see all these poor kids doing laborious jobs, or I'd see all these women who are in prostitution or subjugated in a sex slavery kind of format. And I would think to myself, I am so lucky. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. Why am I so lucky? And that would be the constant refrain that would go off in my head every single time, because I'd always be thinking to myself, what did I do to deserve this life? What did I do to deserve all of this goodness in my life? How am I worthy of all this stuff? Now, I think that's the ironic part of it, is that as an INFJ, you probably are, you might have a good life and you might be worthy of it. You're a good person, or you might be kind or whatever, and you are deserving of all that goodness. But because of all those maddening things in our head, all those thoughts of unworthiness, we make ourselves feel unworthy of it. We make ourselves feel like we're not deserving of all this goodness, and we live a really harsh life because of that, because in our heads we don't deserve it, and so physically we make it so that we don't deserve it. It's very, like, we do stupid simple things, like for example, I can absolutely afford to take a cab from place to place if I wanted to here, especially when I have had a really long day and I've been walking all day and I'm really tired and I just want to get back home. It's a high possibility that I could pay, whatever amount of money it is to get back home in a cab, in a rickshaw, in a tuk-tuk, in a songtime, in whatever format it might be, right? It's very much a possibility for me. But as an INFJ and as an unworthy kind of sense of it, I would think to myself, but why? Why do I deserve to take a cab? Or am I deserving of spending $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 on this ride when I could just walk? I can walk. Why can't I just walk? Even though I'm exhausted at that point, I don't let myself, or I don't give myself the privilege of taking advantage of the fact that yes, I can take a cab. And in this way, even though I am a privileged individual and I have the capacity to buy all these things and do all these things, I restrict myself and I hold myself back, and I don't live to the max, I don't live to the fullest, because I have this sense of unworthiness inside of me. One of the really good things my friend, one of my female INFJ friends said was that you have to actually look at your actions and not your thoughts when you are thinking about all these things. So, we might always be thinking, and I think to myself all the time, I'm awesome, I'm deserving, I'm great, I'm worthy of all this stuff, I deserve self-love, I deserve all this stuff. But my actions obviously do not delineate this kind of stuff. My actions are actually in opposition to my thinking. Because if I am deserving, then why don't I deserve an air purifier? Why don't I deserve clean air? If I'm deserving, why don't I deserve that cab ride where it might be whatever amount of money? Why, if I'm exhausted, why don't I deserve it? Why don't I deserve more meals? Sometimes I'll restrict myself in the amount of food I eat just because I have those days where I feel like I don't deserve more food, or I won't drink enough water, or whatever it might be. There is a sense of unworthiness that underlies everything that we do as an INFJ, and we really have to be careful about that. The reason I really wanted to do this video is because it's not just about an air purifier, obviously, or not just about a cab ride, not just about anything really. It's about the fact that we as INFJs do not live to our max, to our full capacity, because we worry about all of these useless, shitty little things, right? I spend so much of my time, my brain power, my mental energy, my physical, spiritual, emotional energy thinking about whether I should buy an air purifier or not. Instead of doing my work, instead of working on the stuff that really matters to me, instead of being creative, instead of putting myself out there, instead of living my life to the max, instead of living fully, I spent a lot of hours, actually, guys, I don't want to even admit to how many days I spent thinking about this, a lot of time thinking about whether I deserve an air purifier. That's just such a waste of time and energy. It's just such a waste of effort. It's a waste of our life to be spending our time thinking about this stuff when really it doesn't really matter. You'll buy it and then you'll forget about it the next instant. It's in my room, I don't even think about it again. It's there, it's doing its job, it's done. Now I'm on to the next worthy project, right? As I said, I really wanted to do this video because I really want us to realize that, first of all, our thoughts and actions are not corroborating with each other, so we have to be careful about that. But also that we are obviously worthy just because we are here and we're alive. That's the main essence of it. We don't need to do anything in order to be worthy. We don't need to save 1 billion lives, or we don't need to kill 1 billion mosquitoes. We don't need to do anything in order to feel worthy. We are just worthy, as everyone else on this planet is, because of the fact that you are alive. You're here. You were created. You were created as a worthy being, so you are worthy. You don't need to do anything to make it so, right? But also realize that in your quest to put yourself down and to have the sense of unworthiness, you're actually living a tamped down version of your life. You're not living your full life, but you're actually living a lower version of it. You're not living to the max. And because you're spending, as I said, you're spending time thinking about your unworthiness rather than just being like, all right, cool, I'm not going to think about it, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm here already, I'm just going to stay as I am worthy of whatever I deserve, I'm just going to live my life as I want to live instead of worrying about whether I deserve to be alive or not, or I deserve this air, or I deserve this food, or deserve whatever it might be, right? Now, this video is already really long, but I could talk about the subject forever because it's such an important subject for us. I might do another video in the future on this, but let me know your thoughts on this. What do you guys think about it? How does this sense of unworthiness put you down and result in probably strife or conflict or other unnecessary things in your life? Let me know in the comments below, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.